So what I wanted to start out with is the wins. How are we doing with some of the client wins here? And all right, we got Toby Joplin. Toby, you want to just unplug here for a second and tell us about that?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was meeting with one of my clients who's also been a rainmaker for me. He's referred me some business, and we had lunch. And he called me back about 10 minutes after we got through with lunch and said he wants to sponsor a research project where we would. I've kind of developed a niche in banking, and he wants to sponsor a research project where I will interview. Basically, I'd be interviewing potential leads for my consulting business, but also I would, you guys probably don't know me, I'm a professor at a university, but it would also create a research project that I could publish. So it's kind of a win-win-win.
That's awesome, Toby. Really, really good. All right, Mike Bolte, you're up, buddy. Unmic yourself.
Yeah, so mine was like employee stuff. So I got guys got me a Milwaukee heated jacket and a $250 gift card to a steakhouse. I was like flabbergasted that anyone. Anyways, yeah, I was really touched by it. I was speechless, which most people who know me know that it's pretty hard to shut me up, but I was pretty surprised, and the gift was nice, but having happy guys is even better.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, as Tim's figuring that out, I have a win from one of my clients. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Nicole. I'm one of the consultants here at Redmond Growth. I'm probably working with quite a few of you, so nice to officially meet all of you. So Affordable Building Concepts has been a client for about 2 years now. They did 3.4 million in 2020. They set the goal to hit 3.5 in 2021. And they let us know last week that they are going to finish this month at 5 million for the year. And so far exceeded that goal. And to me, the bigger win is that both business owners are only working 3 days a week in the business now, compared to have been working 6, 7 days, being the primary employees in the business. So they're having the highest revenue year ever and are working the least amount that they've ever worked. And so that's a huge win for both, financial and time freedom.
Awesome. Really good to hear. Really good. Glad you shared that. All right, Nick, can you speak here without us having you muted out?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I did a phone call this morning with HRT, Healthcare Realty. The lead engineer has been there for 25 years. He was a customer of mine with the previous company. And we're meeting for lunch next week, and I did about $1 million with him last year. So he's pretty excited. I was kind of not sure whether to touch base with it or not because of a non-compete issue. And I was just like, screw it. So called him today. And he's like, dude, I haven't heard from you for a while. So let's hook up next week. So it's going to be a huge account. HRT and is Healthcare Realty. They handle all of Baylor, Scott and White hospitals in the whole region, all the way to Waco, Dallas, Fort Worth. So huge footprint. And he's been with them for 25 years. They actually even go all the way to Oklahoma as well, and a lot of the Baylor, Scott and White hospitals there in facility. So pretty excited about that meeting for next week.
That is really awesome to hear, Nick. Great stuff. Anybody else? We got some other folks here. Amir, what's your win, buddy?
Hey, how's everybody doing, guys?
Good to have you on board here, sir.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I just want to, on behalf of me and my brother, we've been working with Harley, Mr. Lecty, and I must say, man, he's an amazing individual. Been kind of getting all of our ducks in a row, so super excited for 2022 to see what this new year brings, and surpassing our best year so far. And I'm just really excited to work with you guys. And Harley has been nothing short of a miracle and blessing to our business. So thank you. That's a huge win for us, and we definitely look forward to the upcoming year.
That's awesome, Amir. And let's give it up for Harley on that too.
Well, hey, thank you, Amir. I will wire you the $100 gift card as we're speaking. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Harley.
Yeah, just the way they had it planned there. Who else has got to win? Anybody else has got to win here? Let's talk about it. Kurt, are you able to speak?
There we go.
All right, very good.
You got me. All right. Before I even share any kind of great growth numbers and bounce back off the pandemic, I want to give my I want to give my win to Harles Barkley as well.
All right.
Harley is an amazing human being, like the gentleman said. Yeah, man. So I give my win to him. But as far as our business, after the pandemic, kind of unsure as a service industry working in homes, as a carpet cleaner in our area. So we bounced back with 90% growth. Almost doubled it, and met all of our goals and exceeded them. So we're thrilled.
90% growth, man. That's awesome. Off the charts, dude. Really good to hear. I want to first of all go over our growth tactics and skills, and then we're going to cover real specific mindset things after we cover this. And our growth is really going to be our year-end planning. Now, many of you have had a year-end planning process with your coach, which is great. Okay. And we want to do year-end planning. So we really learn the lessons we want to learn to plan for a better 2022. And so there's a number of things that we want to dive into that's going to really help you out tactically. The primary purpose of the goal is to further develop you as a leader. It's who you become in the process. So you may have different ideas, whether, hey, I want to take time to talk about, plan my goals, or every time I do it, I'm just disappointed. So why should I even do it? It's when you set your mind towards hitting certain targets, you share them, you work with your coach on that, and then you begin to make movement towards that. You're really paying attention. You want to take the joy of achieving those goals, but really the goal is who you become in the process. And so I want to start to just knock down each of the aspects of our year-end goal planning module that we share with our clients and go through each of these questions. First of all, what has to happen in the next 3 years for you to be happy with your growth and progress? So we're gonna take a look at our year, and we're gonna go at the end of 2024, 12/31/2024, looking back 3 years, 2022, 23, 24. What has to happen for you to be happy with your goal and your progress, your growth and your progress? And if you've already begun to work on that and you want to include some comments, on the chat, please share some of your thoughts on the chat. What has to happen in the next 3 years for you to be happy with your growth and progress? Do we have anybody that wants to speak up for a moment to share, well, what is a goal you have in 3 years that by reaching it, you're going to look back and, you know what, I'm happy that I made this kind of progress? Does anybody want to speak up just for a moment?
Our goal in 3 years is 3,000 units in the next 3 years. So,
all right. So he's got apartment units. He remodels apartment units. He buys apartments. He remodels them. So 3,000 units.
yes.
Okay. In a toned way for Mike Bolte to explain it, that's called kick ass. We're taking names here. So boom, do it. Anybody else? What goal do you have in 3 years? Looking back, you're going to say, wow, if I reach this goal, man, I'm going to be happy with it.
I'll do one. So we've, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we started heat and air in April. It hasn't been like a takeoff or anything, but we've had pretty mild winter. But ultimately the goal would be, taking on more more trades. I mean, I'd like to take on electrical. I think we'd like to really expand the business, and I think staying in the same geographic market, I think is something I'm more comfortable with, but spreading out into other trades is nice. And that's a goal. We've already taken one step into the mechanical, but the plan ultimately is to spread out that way.
What 3-year goal do you have that when you look back on it, you think about, you've articulated it, and man, when you reach this, you're going to be happy? Or Toby, do you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say where I'd like to be in 3 years is to have 20 clients that I have on retainer that I'm working with on a full-time basis.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing that happen here. Excellent. Bob, why don't you speak up here? What are you talking about?
Put the numbers out from where we've been at in 3 years. If we could hit 3 million in sales, we'd be very pleased with that.
Good stuff here. All right, so that's what we want to make sure our goals are very specific and measurable, and it's going to really push us to get there. Let's go on to the next one. Now, based on what you've done, looking last year, there's things you did really well. There's things you didn't do maybe as well. So let's take a look at that. What kind of lessons did you learn in 2021? Anybody speak up on that?
I'll jump in real quick.
Yeah, Kurt.
Yeah, it's all about systems. I know we talk about that a lot, improving, along with the systems in general, with the CRM and reminders and stuff, at least for our database and our industry, is the marketing tool. I mean, we talk about the marketing stool. I mean, I'll admit it, and a lot of business owners should, that we got a wobbly leg. Our stool isn't solid, and I think we definitely to hit these goals we got for 2022 would be to strengthen that stool. Text reminders are huge. We're trying to get in the game with all the biggest corporations across the board in different industries, where, you know, automatically as soon as we book and schedule something, it doesn't just go to an email, because we both know a lot of times emails will sit in spam and trash, and that really affects our account receivables too. I mean, we got so many times we're missing money, and then we got to follow up with a call, and they'll be like, well, I never received it. You know, so we got to get in the game with this whole text invoice, text estimate, just the speed and efficiency of everything. So improving a lot of things across the board as far as systems.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right. We want to make sure we when we go through it, even when we take a look at our P&L, we look at how well we did and sales we lost or sales we gained. You know, what you want to make sure you're not just going through the motion, but you're very intentional to find out, well, what did we do really well that helped us out quite a bit? All right. And I mean, key lessons that in Redmond Growth is, you know, we learned a lot on advertising and how that works. We're in big process of learning how to sell our initial package. We're reformulating that whole process to apply that into 2022. We're redoing our whole coaching system to hopefully become even more available to you guys when you need it. So a lot of really key things on that. Let's go on to the next one. How will I apply these lessons and convert them, these lessons I've learned in 2021, to convert them into action items on a weekly basis or add to the weekly tracking? So this is something that I want you to be able to work with your coach at. Here's a lesson I learned. It was painful. Here's a lesson I learned. It was put a lot of money in the bank. Here's different lessons I learned in how I interacted with my staff or with key vendors that worked, what didn't work, and then begin to actually work with your coach and bring those into your weekly schedule. Really, really powerful process. Let's go on to the next one. What non-negotiable items or actions are going to make the biggest difference in my business? What one thing, if you did that more, or you didn't do that as frequently? For some of our clients, we've when we converted emailing their estimates to hand delivering the estimates and talking through the estimates with a client, their closure rate went through the roof. Okay. What non-negotiable action do you believe will make the biggest difference in your business? I would like to hear from some of you guys on that.
Yeah, I would say just becoming COD and, you know, collecting every call. Because a lot of times, I mean, the software I use, we can, you know, text and pay that way, but sometimes it takes some, a week or 2 weeks to pay.
Really good. Yep. Very good. Parker, that's excellent. Okay. Anybody else?
Can I share something?
Please. Yeah, Ryan.
I think one would be our kind of lead tracking, following up with after estimates are sent out, and just following up with the clients and everything to try and close those deals.
All right. So Ryan's a remodeler. What's your average size job nowadays?
They kind of range around $30,000 to $50,000
Okay.
for just bathrooms or small kitchens.
Yeah. Nice. So your non-negotiable action is, again, say that again.
The lead tracking that kind of Robert showed us how to do, with just following up with the estimates, keeping track of all that, and just calling the clients back and going over with the estimates and everything to try and close the deals. Yeah.
And so this is what I want, as our beloved clients here, I want you to get with your coaches and have them ride your behind to make sure you're doing the very thing Ryan has as a non-negotiable, really using and keeping active and keeping up to date the lead tracker system that he's got. And you're one of our brag stories, Ryan, just on somebody that's just making enough money now. I think you're instead of bringing your wife to McDonald's, you're bringing her to Burger King now, right? Or something.
Yeah. Stepped up a little bit.
No, I mean, it's really cool to see you just add on thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in profit every month on what you're doing. So yeah. Excellent. All right, let's go on to the next one here. What are my financial and business goals for 2022? Now, you guys have already talked about, like Bob talked about, getting a 20% growth rate. I mean, that means you're just about doubling the size of your business every 3 years and a quarter or so, 3.5 years. So that's phenomenal growth here. But do you have specific financial goals? And if you haven't worked that out with your coach, I want you to take time over the next couple of sessions to really hammer that out. Because when you get really clear on your vision of what you want, it makes it easier to work backwards on that, of what you need to do today, what Redmond Growth can do to help you out to get there. And really quick here, any financial goals? We've already heard some financial goals with some of the people, but anybody else that maybe hadn't spoke up?
I'll go ahead and share.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
So Robert kind of introduced us to the Profit First system.
Yeah.
And just was setting up multiple bank accounts. And being a remodeler, before that, just kind of having, a checking savings account, we were having major issues with kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. We had to get a lot of jobs coming in to, pay subcontractors that have already finished work, and it was very hard keeping track of all that. So one of our big financial goals was having that system in place, and all the separate bank accounts made it very easy, and it's working out really well.
Okay, excellent.
I'm happy to share one on a client's behalf. Arnold's Plumbing is one of my clients. I've been working with him for going on 2 years now. When I first started with Dale, he was just a one man in a truck, didn't even have a helper. This year, he bought a warehouse, has 3 trucks in the field, and as of next month, we'll have his 4th truck in the field.
That's beautiful.
Our goal for this year was to hit $500,000. He's exceeded that. He's going to hit over 600. And next year, his goal is to hit 800,000.
All right.
And so that would be his pathway.
And when you're used to being a one-man show and not really, I mean, you really more have a job than having a business. When you start to develop and having a business, these are huge group. I mean, there's some of you guys would be upset if you get anything below $1.5 million or $2 million. Well, getting $800,000, this is just a whole new lifestyle for this guy. And it's really cool to see that kind of stuff. So I really, really like that. What I'd like to do is just look at the very last slide here, and that is our F6 goals. We got 6 words or 6 key goal areas that we want to, that I'll start with F, that we really focus on. And when I've done this, the less goals I've got in each area, the better I go with it. So in faith, for me, I read through the Bible, every year. And you guys that want to, join me this year, I'm going through what they call a 49-week plan. So I'm going to make that available. If you guys want that, just email me or text me and I'll get you on the list. Family, try to go a full day without my wife getting super pissed at me. It's been my big, no, just kidding. But each one of these things, it may be a very, very specific goal that you've got on this. And the less goals you have means the less things you look at, the more you can focus on it, the more intense you can be. And so this is our year-end planning process. And I want to take a moment just to put the link in here on that. I'm going to put that in the chat here. This is the actual link to our document. And if you can just take that and make a copy of that, or just work with your coach and getting a copy of that. If you don't already have that, it's just a really simple, but a real powerful process for planning your year. We believe you guys, if you really focus on it, especially with our increased efforts, increased technology we're bringing here, we believe you guys are going to really kick big time into 2022. Got a lot of confidence in that. So make sure you take a look at that. One thing I do want to go back to sharing with you guys is the presentation on your mindset skills. I don't have a lot to share on this, but we're going to be sharing this more and more. The coaches, myself, Robert, we want to share on just insights of just to kind of put you into a headlock and just give you a noogie and help wake you up here to say, hey, how you think about something determines how something gets done. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to you guys about communication. There's 2 groups that you communicate with on the planet, 2 groups that you communicate with. And let me just say, how you communicate to these 2 groups determines your success, especially to the second group. So the first group we talk about is everybody around the world, your family, your employees, your customers, God, everybody else. The second group is you, what you say to you. And I've got a big challenge, a question for you guys to think about. And that is, if you had a friend that spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friend? If you had a friend that spoke to you the way you speak to yourself, would they still be your friend? How many of you kind of get on to yourself a little bit? Maybe put your hands up. I can see you. And really, I guess maybe there's 3 people that are honest. Kurt, you're one of them. My God, it's come on, let's do it. But no, I'm on a serious note. You got to hang out with you all the time. And for some of us, that's like a depressing thought. The one person that was common in all these situations in my life was me. I showed up in every one of them. What you do in your communication, especially your communication you have when you talk to yourself, is the make or break here. So there's 2 ways for you to improve your self-talk. And I really want you to take inventory of what are you saying to yourself about yourself. There's a study that was done that found that people in their self-talk, they speak anywhere from about 1,000 to 1,500 words a minute to themselves. All of us are speaking to ourselves. And research found that about 80% of our self-talk is us talking to ourselves about ourselves. the research that I've read about this, that most of that, the majority of that self-talk or that self-communication is negative. You getting on to yourself. And how many of you kind of get on to yourself when you mess up and you just like, you put yourself in the worst prison you'd ever put anybody else in? What do you tell your kids? Or what do you tell your employees? Or what do you tell the people you love? Hey, it's okay, it's okay. Do you tell that to yourself? A lot of times you can actually increase your ability to do business, to be that much more attracted to do business when your self-talk improves. And you're not just so busy building a case against yourself. When's the last time you told yourself, good job, awesome, I high-five myself? And I'm not going to tell you guys to get in front of a mirror and say, I am somebody, I am somebody. If you want to do that, that's okay to do. And there's something to that. There's an ancient king that said life and death in the book of Proverbs. It said life and death are in the power of the tongue. And your ability to produce life or death is on what you say, and especially what you say to yourself about yourself. So there's two things I want to leave you with here that'll help you in your self-talk. Number one is your daily ritual. How many of you, you have work at your home, and so it's not a matter of driving into the office, but for those of you that are driving into your office or driving to the next job, and you're in your car or truck by yourself, I would love to see you say out loud your daily ritual. Is like a daily confession, or it's a daily, what you say to yourself about yourself. I have a whole process where I start with gratitude towards God, gratitude towards these awesome coaches that I get to work with, gratitude towards my wife, gratitude towards my kids, gratitude towards awesome things happening. I'm even grateful for things that are really painful and hurt and they're mistakes that I'm having to clean up. But I'm grateful because they're not going to leave me like they found me. And so I start with gratitude. I go into praise. I think about praise towards God, but I also think about praise towards Nicole or Harley or Bryce or Rudy. You know, these are the coaches I get to work with. Roberts, they just go overboard to really care for their clients. And it's like, wow. Sometimes it's just saying out loud, man, thank God for Rudy. Thank God for Nicole. Thank God for Harley and Bryce, and for the difference that they're making, that they care enough to put up with me. And they really care about their clients, even when it's not convenient. And then I go into, connections that I really want to see, what relationships, and I'll just speak about that, about my wife, about my relationship with God, about the workers that I have. I'm just saying, this is just things I'll just talk about to myself and what I want, the goals that I have, my business, my customers, even some of my financial goals. And so it's good to have a daily ritual where you just make it like a sacred time where you're just saying things. I believe it's good to say it out loud. That's the thing, is just getting a daily ritual where you're talking to yourself really well. You can talk to yourself and you hear yourself speaking. The second thing here is asking yourself strong, creative, inducing questions versus weak, limiting questions. What's a weak, limiting question? Why is this happening to me? Why can't this happen to somebody else? That is a weak, go nowhere question, and your brain will try to solve that, and you'll end up in a bad place. Versus a powerful question is, what adjustments do I need to make with the results I'm getting? I want to see an improvement to the results. So what adjustments, what kind of change can I make? What kind of change can I demand of myself and my team to make on this? What am I learning from this situation? Instead of complaining about the pain of something happening to you, just express gratitude towards this. How can I be grateful towards this person? How many of you have a person that just, you can hide your button and they will come right in there and just push your button. Do you have anybody like that in your life? How many of y'all are married? So that's your spouse's specialty, is to find your hidden spot. So even when they hit the hot button or the sensitive button, and even if you fly off or do whatever you do, or you go, fight or flight, you go into yourself like a turtle. At that time, you just speak out gratitude for that situation, for that person. And as you begin to talk a lot better about yourself, really, you're building a case for yourself, not against yourself. I believe that your goals that you want to reach for 2022 will be a lot more achievable if you just give yourself a break. If you just move from jumping on yourself to being grateful for what's going on in your life, to be thankful, and to even give yourself a pat on the back. Getting into really moving into your highest and best use, where you produce more and you're the happiest at doing it. Please stop building a case against yourself with the words you use. Start agreeing with what I think and your coach thinks about you, that you're going places. And that business and that community that you operate in is lucky to have you because of the problems you can solve and the care that you bring. So I believe that this is going to be an awesome year for you. We're very grateful to have you on board. Again, say positive things about yourself, your future, and your surroundings, your company, and the people in it. Do we have any questions on that, or any comment? Or
I'll jump in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the button with the gratefulness, and it all leads back to self expectations. I know we're all built different. Some of us can beat ourselves with a hammer every day, looking too far into those goals, looking too far into next year and the 3-year thing you're talking about, and we lose sight of what's in front of us today. Not even just the company or the money and revenue goals, but like you said, it starts with our family as well. Looking at what we got in front of us, it could be a wife, could be the kids, the health, the breath and everything, not getting caught up in, man, I want to be at that million, I want to be at that 5, and we don't reach it, you're just like, you're down in the dumps and depression and everything. And I've been there. So speaking from experience, so I'm growing and learning in that realm right there too, is not beat myself up. Just look around and be grateful for everything around me. Like you said, the people on your team, even with their faults and defects, try to build them up. You talk about being a leader, and it's all about growing as a leader and investing in your people, not just money wise, but with the wisdom and the lessons we're learning from growing as leaders as well.
Excellent. Really good. Very good.
Yeah, Tim, Ray, Weave here.
Yeah.
I've been going through some of that negativity on myself in the last year. And, I've been reading this great book by this author. Some of you might know, his name is Tim Redmond, Power to Create. And awesome book, guys. I would really encourage you to read that. It's a great help in this area. Another thing I've done is it's very old, but Earl Nightingale has a video, multiple videos on YouTube that you can watch. Been a great encouragement to me. You bet.
Wow. Really good. All right. Why don't we go into some of the questions that we have? And Russ had a question. Is Russ on the line here? I'm trying to think. Well, I can't see whether he's on the line or not.
No, I do not believe Russ is here.
We'll address this here, but so having someone in the office is a new challenge for me. I don't want to micromanage them, but I do want them to be very productive. Okay, y'all can agree with that. I know this is my problem I need to work with. Here's my question. How do I set things up so that I know what's going on without micromanaging her? I would think implementing some kind of KPI is what needs to be done. So Redmond coaches, why don't you guys weigh in on that?
It's all about systems, having systems in place. I feel like people think sometimes that simply by holding somebody accountable that they're micromanaging, and that's not the case. However, it's not very productive to be hovering over your employee's shoulder all the time or constantly blowing up their phone. That's not going to be a positive work environment. And so one thing that we always encourage is having a daily office checklist This is a very simple checklist that has all of the tasks that that office person is going to be doing probably every single day or at least every single week. So you have that checklist, and then you have a set meeting with your office person every single day. It's at the same time, same place every day, whether it's in person or over the phone, where you review that checklist with them. And then you also have an agenda, very similar to the agenda that we use with our clients, where if you ever assigned something to your office person, it gets recorded on that agenda with a due date. Same thing for them with you. So really the main time that you're communicating with that office person is during that 1 hour meeting that you have with them every single day. That's going to keep you from blowing them up throughout the day, and it's going to keep them from blowing you up throughout the day. It's that set time to hold each other accountable, to have questions answered, and to really make sure that things are getting done. And so that would be my recommendation to Russ. And I think if he committed to that, he would be very shocked with how quickly he sees an improvement in that.
So, and then you can work with your coach, folks, on each of your people, that there's a daily, particularly with office help, there's a daily checklist, a weekly checklist, a monthly, a quarterly, and we go up to a century. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to sound like I was really important here, but no, it's basically a daily, weekly, and monthly checklist on what needs to be done. And we've had some employers, some business owners like yourself, actually have the people fill it out and sign it, and we'll make the employee sign it either on a daily or weekly basis with, like, hey, none of the stuff is made up. This is true. I really did this work. So that's the kind of stuff not to be afraid of doing. Anybody else have any feedback? Bryce or Harley or Rudy?
Yeah, I think Russ teed himself up a little bit too in saying with KPIs, and agree completely with everything Nicole said. But really, it's setting leading expectations. It's not micromanaging when you communicate effectively. This is what the expectation is, and then here's the deliverable. If the deliverable is not there, then it's clear that this didn't happen. And so communicating the clear expectation ahead of time is the biggest piece of that, to not micromanage.
Okay, so that's good. Why don't we go on to the next question, because we may have some questions from the group here as well too. I see, looks like Ryan had a question. Right, Gary Johnson, here's the next question. Gary Johnson had a question. How do we get website ranking besides Google Maps, or how do we improve website ranking? And so there's different kinds of ranking on a Google universe, if you will. We have the map listing, the 3-pack listing that we've already done. If you've got a business where you do have a home service, we have a Google local listing, a Google local ads that we can go. You have Google AdWords that can be used. We want to have people enter that very slowly, crawl, walk, run. And a lot of it has to do with the content that we build on an ongoing basis, Gary, with the keywords and looking at each one of the web pages. What we're going to do, and I've already talked to Rudy about that, Gary, is we're going to revisit your website. I'm going to do a deep dive with Jonathan and really take a look at that. And then we're going to be in contact with you. But on an ongoing basis with the SEO, we're building backlinks, we're building content, we're looking at links that were broken. We look at the strength of the title tags and the different aspects that Google has, about over 200 buckets that or calculations they've built into their algorithm to determine what is ranked where. And so we try to focus on the main ones, the top 3 to 5 to 8 of those things, to really focus on it. So I'm going to take a really close look at what you're doing, Gary, and really take a look at that and give you some feedback, probably through Jonathan, but we will look at that. All right, Ryan, did you have a question or a comment or something that you want to do for the group? Ryan
Yeah,
Chat?
I want to ask other people that are in home services that have multiple services that they bill for or have. Right now, we're using several. Bob's iPhone. His iPhone 6 died, so he's on Bob's iPhone now. But we've been in business 16 years. We recently, or 17 years. We recently this year went into paperless invoicing and all that, trying to collect money faster. But we use several different CRMs, and we're trying to bring it down to one CRM that we can run both sides of the company from. We do, we're in-house, so we're finishing. We do marble polishing, concrete polishing. We do a lot of different. I mean, we have literally hundreds of services we offer, and we have about 20 something employees. Trying to find a CRM that's easy to use, that our office person, our person who answers the phone, can get into, basically put in all the contacts and everything for all of our employees, to where they can go out and do a job every day and not have to check in and call Bob or I or the office every day. They can look at their phone, they can get what they have to do for the day and do their job. What CRMs is everybody using that's in home services that has multiple employees with a whole lot of stuff they bill for? And Rudy, write all this stuff down because I'm not going to.
I've got one. We started with House Call Pro and it was really good. We're moved on to Service Titan, and that really allows you to have more than one type of job, type of industry. It's a little expensive, but I mean, it's, the guys, it can do a lot. It'll record phone calls. The guys can contact the customers through the software itself, so they're not receiving, they're not using they're not giving up their cell phone numbers. There's even, they have options on it that's kind of like with the Postmates, where you can see like the icon where they're traveling, so they can actually, the customer can see where they are, and price books there, estimates, all that stuff is at their fingertip. And customer information is brought up as far as the in-house. Whenever the phone rings, the dispatchers brings up all the customers, if they're previous customer, all of their information. It records all of those phone calls. Dashboard. Anyways, yeah.
That's actually, not to interrupt anybody, but that's actually one we're looking into, and we have a training. Bob, am I correct? Unmute your stuff. I think we have a training coming up on that one.
Yeah. Service Titan. A lot of folks have been real happy with that. Kurt, what do you use? What do you guys use, Kurt?
Let me jump in here. I don't know. We're in home services. I don't know if ours will exactly apply to yours. It's an established CRM out there, similar to House Call Pro, but we definitely swear by this one. My partner, Kevin, actually is grandfathered in when this guy originally started Service Monster. So Kevin was around when he was probably in his garage starting the software. And now he's got a large company and real established, but that's our CRM. I mean,
Service Monster.
Service Monster. Real quick, I'll keep it short. In depth, the database. Names, emails, texts, all this, secondary work or site addresses versus home or billing. You got the email templates created in the back end. I mean, I'm talking about the estimates, the paid invoices with the easy pay link. You got the text invoice, text reminder, tech is on the way. Multiple trucks, different things where you schedule out multiple trucks. Notes from, hidden notes from the administrator that can type it in, notes that the tech can put in there about the job or about the client if they're a pain in the ass. Man, just on and on, just reminders, marketing campaigns. You can build them if you want to go back and clean their carpet in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. It'll gather 1,000 people that had it done 12 months ago and email them. You can build custom text and email campaigns once a month or quarterly. So Service Monster is something to look into for a lot of different options for what he's asking about.
Good. Thank you, Kurt.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have another type of CRM or some type of system that's really worked well for their business?
What I'll say to you, so we primarily work with contractors. We work with all different kinds of industries, but we have a lot of contractors that we work with. There are hundreds of different programs out there. There are so many different ones. And there's probably quite a few that would work for you. I would pick 3 and I would do the training and the trials for all 3 of them and then make your decision from there. Any that you choose, if you don't commit to really utilizing the software and the training and the programs, it's going to be a giant waste of money and time.
So that's one of the questions why I'm asking such a broad group is because we have so many line items.
Right.
To properly try to use it, we'd have to enter all of our line items in. And you're talking about a week's worth of wasted time for us to enter all of our line items to try to figure out how it is. So with this vast group of people here, I thought it would be great to get someone that has a whole bunch of line items that they bill for. What works great? What you throw in the trash? Because we've tried a bunch of them, and right now we've got 2 sides of our company split up using basically 2 to 3 CRMs, and we want to get to one to where it just something that's got a funnel for leads and everything.
So Ryan, there's another aspect of this. When you're looking at CRMs, there's all that you want to have happen with it. Sometimes within your industry, and it may not be a marble quartz dealer, but it may be a tile type of software program, but there might be something within your industry that actually uses all the different elements that you would normally use. It's a matter of setting the price to it, a matter of finding out the supplier, the vendor that you have, and they usually have databases that can flow into that. Now that I don't know that exists. We can poke around on that, but I've done that with a barn builder where there was a barn building estimating program, and they would have certain providers that would maintain a database. And when they'd update the pricing, they just, to their cost, they would just dump it into the program and then boom, it'd be updated. So there might be something like that, just hiding in plain sight. I don't know, but that's
May I ask what kind of business you run, Ryan?
We do tub and towel refinishing. We also do marble polishing, concrete polishing, a bunch of restoration stuff. We have literally, when I say hundreds of line items we bill for, we have hundreds. We also have commercial, residential. We've got different prices for the same product. We've got, a lot.
One that we use, we run a painting business, but one that we use, I'm not sure if you heard of it, it's called Drip Jobs.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I would check it out. It was created by an actual painter. His name is Tanner, out of Florida. He's the one who put it together, and it's actually still like being worked on, and there's a lot of features that are in the up and coming. But it's been amazing for us so far, and it's only going to get better. We've been using it for about 6 months now, so I would definitely check it out. He'll do like a free 30-minute or 60.
Are you writing that down, Rudy, for your beloved Ryan?
I got all the notes.
If you don't mind, Paul, could you speak up and talk about the Job Nimbus just for a second?
So we use Job Nimbus, and you can bill out of it, invoice from it. It's got all the line items that you can put in the back for creating like estimates. You can even do costs like during the job on one part. But the only thing it wouldn't do is it will not send out messages like the tech is on the way unless you do it. But it will record all emails. You can create notes from it. You can do a lot. This one's more reasonable, but it's back to Beacon, Company Cam, QuickBooks. I think there's a couple other ones that integrate with it. So they're still working on some of that stuff too. So they just got a new one with Company Cam that's updated like tax for different towns and cities have different tax rates. And so all that stuff gets updated through Company Cam too. So there's a whole broad thing. I mean, everybody's trying. I know that.
Yeah.
What about a really easy to look at schedule for 15 teams?
Company can, yes. It's got a calendar and you can color code different texts out and all that stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
All right. Is there any more questions that you guys have about anything? Rick says we use House Call Pro. You can manage your line items fairly well. I ended up deleting over 800 redundant line items. Jesus, Rick, that's a lot of work. Sometimes we leave it as is custom and write it on the top of the on the job at the time to fit the job. So that happens. That's just part of it. So got it. Thanks for sharing that, Rick. All right. Well, listen, you guys, it's such an honor to serve you. Yank on your coaches as we go into this next year. We're going to be explaining to you through videos, through email, through texts, how we're going to set this up. And the idea is for you to be able to, if you have issues you want us to address, we're going to set up a calendar where you can get to the coach you want. Can't be too picky about what times that they're available. Or if you want one of the other coaches, you can get kind of on demand for a 20-minute single issue call. We are going to be scheduling a couple calls a month unless you wanted to stay on the old system. So did y'all see the video I put together explaining the coaching systems here? Did y'all see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that you guys can see the value of what we're doing. We're going to probably be working harder, but it's going to be a more of an on-demand type of coaching. We still want to keep a real syncopated meeting with you here at least a couple times a week, or a couple times a month, just to make sure everybody stays on track. But we anticipate huge growth in 2022. We'll conclude it with that. Why don't everybody unmute, and then we'll do the 1, 2, 3, and we're going to say growth and for 2022. 1, 2, 3. Growth.
Growth.
God bless you guys. We'll be in touch. See you next year.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.